Welcome back, everybody, to 31 70s horror movies for Halloween, where I'm counting down my favorite horror movies from the 1970s. At number 23, we have a Vincent Price movie, Theater of Blood.
You craven scum! You're hardly worth the trouble and expense of this special performance!
Oh, no!
This is another movie that I think is very important to the slasher genre. It came out in 1973. And I would definitely call it a slasher movie starring one of my favorite actors, Vincent Price. Vincent Price has always been one of my favorite horror actors, one of my favorite actors in general, because no matter how low budget or high budget the movie he got involved in was, he always gave it 100%. He always gave it his all. He was an actor who truly embraced the horror genre. And whenever you saw him in a horror movie, whether it was a good horror movie or a bad horror movie, you knew he was going to be great in it.
Though I'm afraid you might find our novel version of it a bit of a shock.
This is an interesting horror movie because Vincent Price plays a disgruntled actor. And he's a disgruntled actor who's obsessed with Shakespeare. And there's a whole bunch of critics who sort of conspired against him early on in his life. So he's come back to get revenge on these critics. And he kills them by deaths that you see in Shakespeare. Every kill is inspired by a Shakespearean play, and that's very interesting. You know, taking this, like this very classic highbrow thing and putting it into this very violent horror movie. This is a rated R movie, and the kills get incredibly bloody.
Pleased with this dainty bait, thus goes to bed.
It's this interesting mix. You have Vincent Price spewing Shakespearean dialogue while he's murdering these people. He has this following of drug addict, homeless people who he likes to perform in front of. And so he manipulates them very easily. So he has this group of followers that help him out with his murders. It's fun seeing how he weaves Shakespeare into each one of these deaths. And again, it's fantastic to see a great actor like Vincent Price be able to act. That's another thing about this movie, and about a lot of Vincent Price movies. It's a great horror movie with great kills and great scary moments. Vincent Price is still able to act, and he has these great dialogue moments. So you have these dialogues that are just as memorable as the kills. And in this case, a lot of the dialogue is Shakespearean dialogue. You don't have to be a Shakespeare fan, or even like Shakespeare, to like this movie. It's just... the Shakespeare just adds this interesting flair to the horror.
Disgusting wine bibber. So this reviewer slept through my Richard, did he? Because you had guzzled so much wine beforehand, you slept like a drunken hog!
It's definitely a slasher movie, though. I would not call it an artsy horror movie. It's a slasher movie. But it's a slasher movie with Shakespeare. And it came out in 1973, before many of these other slasher movies. Before Black Christmas, even. And I think it's a shame that it doesn't get as much respect as an early slasher film, as much as a lot of other movies. Because again, you have this guy who's killing people in different ways. In this case, he's killing people via Shakespeare. There's this similarity to The Abominable Dr. Phibes, another Vincent Price movie. So, if you like The Abominable Dr. Phibes, I think you'll like Theater of Blood. I like Theater of Blood more than Dr. Phibes, even though both movies are great. But this one, there's more Vincent Price, and it allows Vincent Price to show his acting chops a little more. That's why I prefer Theatre of Blood.
Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil.
Anybody out there who is a fan of Vincent Price, or just a fan of a good quality slasher movie, watch Theatre of Blood. I think you will like it. And if there's anybody out there who isn't really into horror, but really likes theater, I think Theatre of Blood is a great introduction to the horror genre. Either way, it's a good time.
But you're dead.
No. No, another critical miscalculation on your part, dear boy.